Greetings, pilgrims, and welcome to another episode of the Polygon Pilgrimage. And today I've got something really cool for you. We're going to create a quick and simple bombing run here inside of Unity. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first things first, we're going to need an area to see our bombing run. So I'm going to go ahead and create object 3D. Just create a plane, standard size. I'm going to throw it right at the origin, 0, 0, 0. There we go. So this is going to be where we're going to see our bombing run effect go diagonally across the battlefield here, like this. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and create the positions that we want our bombing run to occur, and then we're going to tie everything together with a script. Next, we're going to create some spheres to help us visualize our bombing run bomb positions, if you will. Let's go ahead and create some 3D objects. We're going to create just a couple of spheres. So we're going to do 0, 0, 0, and then I'll move these. So I'm going to do a pattern of left, right, left, right. So we'll do one here. And I'm going to name this, it's going to be static of course, and I'm going to name this bomb position 1, okay? And I will duplicate this, so of course the names are going to get messed up, but that's okay. There's position 2 technically. Select both of them and do duplicate, and this is going to be 3 and 4, a little bit further away this time, 5 and 6, and a little bit of an angle, and further away still, 7 and 8. So now I'm just going to go ahead and rename all of these. So I'm just going to pop in here and select at the end, back out until I get to the S and say 2. There we go. And this will be 3, and so forth. So I'm going to jump ahead and we'll continue with placing these objects in the scene and making sure that everything is all set. So I've just jumped ahead here and I've named everything. So as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect. So those are all set now. And I've created this bomb material. All this is a standard material, and I just changed the color just so that we can visualize them a bit better on the battlefield here, so we can tell what's a bomb and what's not. So let's just do those really quickly. There we go. Now everything is set up and we can see where we're going to have all our bombs. So the next step is we're going to create our script and attach everything, but first we need one final thing. I have positioned the camera here so I can see everything, and if you haven't done that, well, I've positioned my viewport, and then you select main camera and say game object and say align with view, and that will do what it's done here, is align it so that when I switch over to game mode, I'm actually seeing the battlefield. Okay, so we need to create one more object. Let's do that. Create an empty object, and again, 0 it to the world just for positional keeping. It will be static, and I'm going to call this trigger. Okay, this is what's going to actually hold our script to trigger the whole effect. Alright, so let's jump over to doing the scripting. So I'm going to go into my scripts folder right here, just to keep everything tidy. Right click and say create new C# script, and I'm going to call it bombing run. Okay, and I will double click that script and it's going to launch in MonoDevelop. That should come up here in just a second. There we are. Okay, so here's the code that we start with, and we're going to go ahead and make some changes. As you all know, I am this kind of programmer, not the other kind. There we go. So we got a couple things we're going to do. First, we're going to set up some variables. Then we're going to create an IEnumerator, which is sort of like an internal coroutine, like a function within everything. And it'll make sense when I show it to you. And then we're just going to align things, basically, and create some wait statements so that there's a delay in between all of the bombs. They don't all go off at once. Okay? So here we go with the code. Quite simple. Up here at the top, we're going to have all of our public variables. So I have a public game object, capital G, capital O. I'm going to call this explosion. This is going to hold our explosion prefab. And then we have a bunch of public transforms. And this is because we're going to take the position of all of our explosion positions. And these are the spheres we placed on the map. So what I'm going to do here is copy this, because we're going to need multiples of these. I'm going to say 6 more of these, 7 more of these. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and I'm just going to renumber these. I'll renumber those at the end once we're all done. No, I'll do it now. Sorry, just trying to make it quick and efficient for you guys. This is a really fast methodology, and I like it a lot. Now, after those, we're going to need a few more variables, some more publics, of course, because we want access to them. Public floats, and I'm going to call these delay 1, and of course then it's going to be 2, 3, 4, etc. Start off at 0.05, and I know that's really fast. It feels like it, but you'll see it works out nicely. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Should only be 7 because it's in between, but we're going to do 8. The last one is just an after delay, that sort of thing. So you'll see, pretty easy. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, now in the update is when we're going to be checking for that the user presses the key to start the bombing run. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to say if input get key down, and we're looking for key code, and I'm going to say T to trigger the event. That's my logic there. Now we need some of this, some of that, and I don't do that. There we go. So just putting the brackets there. And in here I'm going to say start coroutine. And we'll talk about that in a second. And this is going to be called start bombing run. Bombing run. Now a coroutine is sort of like an internal function, an internal piece of code that runs. You can summon it at certain times, so you don't have to have it be on the clock in the update. So it's really nice. And we do this by saying IEnumerator. And this is the thing that's going to start our bombing run. Start bombing run. Okay, so IEnumerator says I've called a coroutine, and the IEnumerator is the one that actually does the work. All right. Now in here we're going to do the same thing. Do this, and then in here is where all the code goes, all the logic. All right, and this is pretty simple. I'm going to do a debug.log just so we can make sure that it's working. I'm going to say started bombing run. And what this does is this will just put a message in the console at the bottom for us so that we know that we've actually done what we're doing correctly. Now we're going to instantiate. Now instantiation, what this does is it spawns a copy of something. Think of it that way. So I want my explosion. And where do I want my explosion? I want my explosion at the exp1 position dot position and at the exp1 position dot rotation. Okay? And then what I'm going to do here, this next part, an IEnumerator has to have a yield. So a yield says, give me back something. So I'm going to say yield return. I need confirmation you did something or what you want me to do now. So we're going to do yield wait for seconds, but I'm going to use our delay 1 here as our variable. So what this says is when we press the key, start this little internal function. And it says go here and do this. So now I say, hey, we started the bombing run. Now spawn our explosion prefab at this exact position and rotation. And then I want you to wait for seconds. How many seconds? Well, however many I told you in delay 1. This is 0.05f, so float. Very quick, all right? Now what I'm going to do is copy and paste this over and over again and just do 2, 3, 4, all the way through 8, okay? So I'll be back in just a second. And here we are, magically, 1 through 8. So it's the same thing over and over again here. Instantiate explosion, and make sure you put in here the position 2, position 3, position 4, etc. 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can do this for as many bombs as you want. I only have 8 in this example, but you can do as many as you like. And that's it. Believe it or not, our code is done. So let's go up here and say build all, and you'll see zero errors. That's what we want. This has 3 warnings. That's something else I'm working on. Don't worry about it. I've confirmed. So 0 errors. So now let's go back into Unity. Here we are. And now what I'm going to do is for each of these guys, we have the positions already set. What I'm going to do is select them all, and we don't want to see them anymore. So I'm going to turn off their mesh renderer. So they're invisible now. Let's go to our trigger, and down here in our scripts, I'm going to drag and drop the bombing run script to it. And you'll see all this stuff appears here. And this is where we tie everything together. So first we need our explosion. To get the explosion, what you're going to need to do is go up to, where is it? Assets, import package, and import the particle systems package. This comes with Unity, it's part of it. And I'll show it to you here. I go under standard assets, particle systems, under the prefabs. Now with this folder open, just click once on trigger here to bring back this list. And I'm going to find explosion right here and click and drag and drop them in this first spot. So now what that says is for every time we call explosion in our script, I want you to use this. I want you to use a prefab of this in that place. Okay? Nice and simple. Now we're going to do the same thing for positions 1 through 8 here. So I'm just going to drag these over. Position 1 to explosion, position 1, etc., etc. So there's 2, and I don't know why 3 and 4 are backwards from one another, but that's okay. 3 and 4, and 5. And once these are all set, you can actually take them and move them around. So if you want a particular pattern, you can do that as well. 7 and 8. There we go. Now my delays are all set. Everything's all set. And now because this script is on trigger, that's what will allow me to hit the T key. So I'm just going to hit over to the game view. We see nothing is there. Let's go ahead and hit play. And now I'm just going to hit T. And boom, real fast, 8 explosions. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See that? I'm going to do it a few times just so you can see it. Boom. And what we can do here is we can actually change the timing. So say we wanted this to be a lot longer. So I'm going to do 0.25 for each of these, and we'll take a look at what that looks like. Okay. Now let's hit play one more time. There you go. You can see the explosions going off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can change the positions too. So if we go back here, I'm going to select all these objects again, and we'll turn back on the mesh render so we can see them. Now let's go to the scene view, and we can move them around. So I'm going to do 1 here, 2 over here. We'll just kind of randomize it a bit, and you'll see that you can create a really nice effect for your game. If you want an area where your characters are being ambushed or something like that, you can just put them all over the place. So now let's try that. Oh, one last thing. Let's turn them invisible again just so that we don't have to see them. There we go. Alright, hit play. And now they're kind of all over the place. Pretty cool, huh? Nice and easy to change. Very easy to script. Is it the cleanest script in the world? Maybe not, but it's nice and easy and super, super quick to do. And there you go. In just a few minutes here, you've created a bombing run. As always, guys, I'm going to put the script up on the site. You can download it, take a look at it, use it for yourself. And as always, I hope you enjoyed, and keep practicing, get better, and I'll see you next time as the pilgrimage continues.